that was the last time, baby.
We back and 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 we back.
Better than that was the last.
Molweni kuni nonke, ndiyathemba niyaphila. Igama lami uthando lwethu, abanye beni banazi ngo-Coffee Mac, Tata wesizwe, and welcome to yet another installment of the cover art of the week. And on today's episode, we will be talking about King ThAndiSwa MaZwai's cover art, Sankofa.
That's what I'm talking about. This shit means something to me, man.
From her latest album, Sankofa, which was released on the 11th of May 2024. Right. Oh, before we also go into that, I just wanted to mention that why is it the cover art of the week? It's the cover art of the week mainly because I saw the rollout and there was a lot of great things that happened with that rollout. First things first, Frosana actually shot one of the clips for the interview at Spotify where ThAndiSwa MaZwai went into detail as to what this album means and what this album is about. So yeah, I like that. And Frosana's work is just impeccable, man. I love the storytelling, the details, how he chooses to shoot a few things. Also, his interview on Connor Juta and De Beer was...
Establish why you want to do the piece, the reason why you want to tell the story, right? And for me, the best writers are inspired by their environment, their challenges, their joy.
So I saw most of the rollout for this album and I really enjoyed it. I think it was a great rollout and yeah, man, it was just amazing. It had an elegance to it, right? An elegance to it, a certain type of luxury to it. Like there was intentionality, a lot of intentionality with the rollout. So yeah, number one, that's why it's the cover art of the week. But also there are also a few things I'd like to share with regards to the cover art and what maybe intrigued me and what maybe I think could be a penny for your thoughts. Yeah, and maybe you guys will let me know if I'm reaching here. But okay, so for the release of this album, she was actually featured on Manor Africa. Is it Manor or Manor, guys? Okay, Manor Africa. So we'll say Manor Africa because I've heard a lot of people say Manor Africa, right? And a magazine, yes, it's a magazine by Trevor Sterman. I believe they also have a store now, and it was named one of the best places in Africa from the Times magazine. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, from the Times magazine. They have that up on their Instagram page. You should definitely check it out. It's dope. So what we see is, so for their anniversary, they decided to put King Tha as the main feature for their magazine, which is such a great moment. Like it's their first anniversary as a magazine and as a media outlet, right? And then it was also King Tha's 20th anniversary for the album Izabalaza, which is
sensational,
right? So on the cover of Imana Africa, we see King Tha dripping in Boys of Soweto. I think it was that throw Boys of Soweto. But this piece, I think it was custom made because I don't think I've ever seen any piece like that. So it's like a combination of all these throws, the brown one, the red one, and it's like a dress, a flowy dress. So that was just beautiful. And also her hair was done by Busy or Breezy Braids. Yes, Busy Braids. I think it's Busy Braids. They also do some great work. And then I think it's symbolized. I think she had one tall. Yeah, she had that hairstyling at Sisacholo EsisamaZulu. The one who Nomza Mombata actually has for the King Shaka shoot, for the Shaka series shoot. So she actually has that one. And then there was gold all over the hair. So I think that was also a great thing to show the the resources we have here in Africa, because we know her music is very Afrocentric, right? And it also deals with the pride she has as being an African woman, you know, and the things that we have as Africans. So in a lot of the shoots, she's dripping in gold, she's accessorized, she's heavily accessorized, right? Oh nah, that was actually the second picture. I think it was the second or another photo. But for the cover, she actually had a head wrap that was shaped like alu from, I believe, Wanda Lepoto. Yeah, I think it was Wanda Lepoto. Wanda Lepoto's jackets are also dope. They ndingathina ziyafana noMaskengete. I don't know if you guys know Maskengete in isiXhosa. Yeah, in isiXhosa uMaskengete, that Scotch bag, that red, white, blue bag, but I'll put it here to show you guys. So she had that on her head, but which was like paying. It was amazing, because a lot of these brands that she had on and a lot of people that she worked with actually from South Africa. So she was also showing the great prowess, or well, the great artistry that we do have here in South Africa when it comes to like fashion, comes to artistry, art direction, videographers, you understand. Yeah, as I had mentioned, she also worked with Frosana, so, and Trevor Sturman, I believe. Yeah, so yeah, that was great, man. That was great. The shoot was great for Manor Africa, and I believe it was great for the times as well, like anniversary, 20th anniversary.
Oh my god! Wow!
2 decades, man. That's crazy. So yeah, working with a legend like that was just dope. Oh yeah, it's Breezy Braid. Yes, it's Breezy Braid. Yeah.
No. I said no. You can kill all that right now. Like at this moment.
Yeah, that was amazing. So now we will talk about the album name, Sankofa. What does Sankofa mean? So she did actually say also on the interview here, Manor Africa, as well as the Spotify one, that Sankofa is a Ghanaian term from the language Twi, which means to go back and fetch what's been left behind, what's important, what honors you, or what honors and what needs healing, right? Rooted in being able to heal past wounds and reconnecting with the inner self. So I think knowing what that means gives us a glimpse of what we are going to experience within the album and some of the main themes and topics of the album, right? Okay, so also what I found was, she also does say this in the interview, Uba, the Sankofa, I said, I don't know if I should say it's an idiom, or is it an idiom? I don't know. But yeah, we'll say, yeah, the Sankofa idiom, no. But we'll say, yeah, it's Sankofa. There's literally a bird depicted from this ideology that has like an egg on its back, right? I'll put it up here. That has an egg on its back, symbolizing that thing of going back, right? Going back and like checking and all those things, going back to our past, fetching what's ours and all those things. And as someone who has listened to ThAndiSwa MaZwai's music, a lot of her music is rooted in that. It's rooted in knowing our past, knowing who we are, knowing where we come from, and honoring those that were here before us, right? But also keeping a keen eye on what's going on currently, and calling out those leaders for not living up to their promises, right? And not serving the interests of the people. So yeah, I think it's also a great name for the album. But she also did mention in the interview that more than it being about people now, it's about herself, you know, like healing herself and going back to her, and you know, figuring out maybe the things she missed and all those things, and then coming back as a healed version of herself and as a better version of herself.
Healing my childhood self was a huge inspiration for Gulungile. My mother passed away when I was 16 years old, and I've always dealt with this trauma. I've always carried it with me. And this song was an attempt at finally putting this down and speaking directly to that exact trauma and some others so that I can finally become a healthy adult.
Because she also does mention that the biggest trauma for her was like losing her mom at 16 years. At 16 years, right? So she had to like deal with all those past traumas, look back, and to be able to then move forward, right? Yes. So now we will then go into the things I had seen. Oh yeah, okay, so we'll go into some crazy facts, right? So, and apparently 3 of her 4 solo albums have been released during election years, right? And the synchronicity, which, a synchronicity which she described as being serendipitous. Kind of what's the source? I think I found this on Google, right? Same for Sankofa. So Sankofa was also released on the year of elections. It was released on the year of elections, and she said for Sankofa she wanted to speak, right? She wanted to speak and she wanted to express herself, therefore releasing the thingy, the album, right? Yeah. So then going into the song as well, I thought we were gonna end with the song, but now I want to show how it ties in so well. So the first song of the album is Isabella, and Sabella, it goes Sabelu yabizwa. So yeah, that's very powerful, because it's like the people need to hear what you have to say. The people want to hear your voice, right? Which is also, I would say, which is also something that happened with maybe Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, Kendrick Lamar, for when that when that sad thing happened to George Floyd, where he had the knee on his neck, then people started asking, yo, where's J. Cole? Where's Kendrick? What are they saying about this, right? And then it started the whole beef with No Name. Well, it wasn't a beef, but yeah, like a squabble. Was it a squabble? I'd say a squabble.
Squabble up, squabble up, squabble up, squabble up, squabble up, squabble up.
So yeah, I feel like that's how she felt as well, because I think that she did say Uba, she's not necessarily absolved from the ills of South Africa and what's going on to the people. Some way, somehow, she's also affected. So she also has to speak on these matters that bother us as everyday people, right? So yeah, she does say Sabelu Abizo. So I think that also ties in very well. I think it also ties in very well with this. Yes. Okay, now so going into the cover art, right?
Okay, let's go.
So going into the cover art, what we see is 3 faces of King Ta. So it's like since this is a linear depiction, right, and it's not vertical, so I will say she's looking back and she's looking forward, and then with the other image looking straight into the camera. So what I got from that was, since she did say Sankofa is about going back, her looking back is a depiction of her looking to the past, right? Looking to the past and seeing those past mistakes and seeing what parts of herself or parts of the parts that maybe we lost, and the parts that we lost and things like that. So she's going back to regain all those things, and she's going back to fix all those mistakes, because on the song Kulungile, which she also says was inspired by the passing of her mom, she does say Uba, I don't know what does the chorus say. It says it goes Kulungile. It's like kulungile, all those things happened, but then she also does say uba ndibuyile ndizolungisa ela nxeba lakudala. You understand? So it's like she's retracing her footsteps, she's going back and she's going to fix those things, and then with her also looking forward, trying to see maybe what does the future carry for her, what does the future carry for us. And being in the middle, it's like you're in the middle of the past and the future, so you're basically in the present. So she's dealing with both aspects of looking back and looking forward, and she's living in the present moment, right? So when we go back and heal the parts of us that need to be healed, we then are able to live in the present moment and deal with what we are currently facing, right? I think there was one article, if I'm not mistaken, where she did say about like she was just moving and moving and moving things, like she was just moving forward. So now with this album, it's like she's going back and we are because she does say about her healing comes from her making music, but she also knows the impact that she has because her voice can impact other people in the same way as well. People who relate in some way or the other to her struggles, right? And I did see a comment on Instagram, one of her Instagram posts, where someone was actually talking about like losing their mother and how they didn't deal very well with that, and all those things. So yeah, man, like I'm really appreciative of artists like that, artists who are also able to make you feel and able to relate to the things you say. And she also does describe, I found this according to the New York Times. She was also featured on the New York Times, and it was an article by Lindsay Chutel. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but we'll just say Miss Lindsay. Yeah, it was by Miss Lindsay on the New York Times. Apparently she did say that she describes herself as being political, of which we all know she is political. And I also wanted to say, like, as izinto, guys, it's like uzalelwe zona or udalelwe zona, yabo, one way or the other. It's like some way, somehow, you're literally going to be that thing, because apparently her parents were journalists and they were activists at the same time. She was born in Soweto in 1976 on the 31st of March, which is within the same week as the Human Rights Day, like 7 days, or well, 9 days after the Human Rights.
Stay.
Okay, yeah, sorry guys, that was my sister. And anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, so I was saying about her parents were literally people who are activists as well as journalists, right? And she grew up in Soweto in 1976 on the 31st of March, which is like 9 days. Well, I'll say 10 days. Yeah, 10 days. 10 days after the Human Rights Day. So I feel like some things you just born into them, and they then become a part of you. So yeah, man. And I also think that thing that people usually say about the things we do as parents, or like once we become parents, like if you're doing good unto others, then you yourself, you might not experience those blessings, but those blessings might then fall onto your children, right? And all those things might then fall onto your children, because I believe also that thing of you are what you eat is actually true, right? Growing up in an environment like that of people who are politically aware and conscious of what's going on in the country, obviously now is somewhere somehow uzofunda, and you're gonna experience some of those things, because she also did say since her parents were like able to take her to good schools and stuff like that, she was the minority, right? She was the minority in those private schools. So she does say also it's not a place where black kids should be like going in that time, not Google, but back then. So she also experienced that, and obviously when something like that happens, a part of you wants to revolt against the system, and you want to speak up on those ills and those issues. So yeah, Ben Funucho man, like for something, for like nothing can stop you from your destiny, right? Then she started singing, and she started her singing career in 1994. That's what Google says. I don't know if that's true, but she started in 1994. So like you see how all of these things are just aligning, like Young Mama as 1994. Yeah, but she also sang for Nelson Mandela and all those things, right? And also apparently the late Tatuhu Masekela called her the leader of the past, which is now the future, which is just crazy because her music is based on a lot of those themes. But in her always kind of documenting things that are currently happening or things that were happening back then, she's leading us into the future. Yeah, well, so yeah, man, like it's just like finding out all those tiny facts actually made me understand, but okay. And then also releasing all her albums being released on election years, bro, that's just, you understand. I don't even want to go into her tiny desk, bro. Like, her tiny desk, go and watch. Go and watch, dog. I was watching with my friend Utabo. Dog, I had goosebumps, bro. Like,
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
I had literal goosebumps. It's crazy how the way she sounds when she's singing live, it's like you're listening to her on a record. Oh, nah, dog. Like, I definitely have to like experience her live shows. Yeah, I definitely need to go to one of her live shows, man. Ish. Guys, donations. But yeah, so as I was saying, right? So now let's go into the album. Yeah, let's go into the album. Yeah, excuse the rant, but yeah, let's go into the album cover art. Right. So the cover art has her. We already spoke about the three aspects of her being right, left, right, and center. Right. But now I wanted to like focus in on the middle. So what I saw in the middle was she had the white painting up, which is like a triangle, right? I don't know if she did that to signify, no man, to just like outline eyebrows, yabo, because kuzoba ne paint ebomvu apha ebones, right? Oh, red paint or what on the forehead, right? And then she had that white outlining just going over the eyebrows, right? Oh, okay, so now we're going into reaching territory. Oh, if you look at those lines, right, that's an inverted triangle, right? An inverted triangle, right? And an inverted triangle, according to Dan Brown, I read this from the Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. So the inverted triangle signifies the feminine, and then the normal triangle signifies the masculine. And apparently when you bring those two together, we then have a balance of the two energies, the feminine and masculine energy, right? So I think, I'm not quite sure, like this is my own thought into this. Yeah, because I want I want this video to have some substance to it. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, this is what I thought when checking all those things. So the inverted chalice, so the inverted triangle also signifies, symbolizes the chalice, according to Dan Brown. The chalice, which was a part of like Jesus' story, and apparently it's a cup that he drank from, where he drank his wine from, I think at the Last Supper. Yes. And then when the 12 disciples are also sitting there, this is something that Dan Brown said. When we look closely into that picture, that's actually not another disciple. That's not one of the 12 disciples, but that's actually Mary Magdalene, who is believed to have the secrets to the golden chalice and all those things. How do we bring balance? And people apparently, I don't know if scientists are still looking for Mary Magdalene scrolls. Like, I don't think, yeah. But yeah, I think that's what the inverted triangle meant, to like symbolize the feminine energy and to like bring awareness to that. And then now we will go into the red paint on her forehead, upper bones, right? So I think the red paint, it could have been just for aesthetics, right? Oh, it looks cool. But hey man, this is King Ta, so I think a lot of things are intentional, right? So in my research, I then went and checked about what is the significance of the color red with closer people, right? But before doing that, since the name of the album was Sankofa, I tried to check if they're like birds who maybe have like a red forehead and stuff, and what is the significance of those birds and all those things, yeah, but I didn't find anything. But what I found was just a red woodpecker, yeah, because it has a red head and all those things, yeah, so yeah. And then what I actually found was, when checking for, oh yeah, and I don't know if the Sankofa bird actually exists or it was just drawn, yeah, so because I kept checking it and all I kept finding was like AI images. But most of the time when people actually draw it, they actually put the red there, yeah, so oh shit.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Shit, I should have actually checked what the significance of the color red is to Ghanaian people. Yeah, bro. Damn. But anyways, so yeah, but that's what they keep doing. So maybe that red was inspired by that, or since she is closer, I then went and checked. But what is the significance of the color red to us closer people? Right, then what I found was, according to Leila Atelia, the red closer people were actually known as the red blanket people, because this is abantu ababomvu, right? The red blanket people. So the blankets, our blankets were covered in white and red with red ochre. Yes, they were covered with red ochre, varied in color from one tribe to the other. And apparently this was because of the different climates and the different environments, right? So ured wethu ebesohluka ngendawo, yabo. And I actually told my sister about this. She was like, yeah, like abantu ababomvu. And I was like, oh yeah.
It makes sense. Then, yo, guys, makes sense.
That's why we always say singabantu ababomvu. But not but thina singabantu ababomvu. When we refer to abantu who we say like ngamaqaba, yabo. Amaqaba are people who do things the old way. Like a lot of them aren't like not necessarily on par with what's going on modern society, but are like a bit behind, yabo. Or they still keep those values, they still keep those things, right? They still like they're these words keep running away from me, man. But yeah, like amaqaba. So amaqaba, and then into ebomvu. So what it looks like to me when looking at that picture, nah, I'm actually thinking about this now, but mhlawumbi with that red paint she could have been symbolizing imbola, yabo. Yes, imbola, which is something eqatywa ngamakrwala xa begqiba bangobhuti abatsha, yabo, xa begqiba bangobhuti abatsha, into eqatywa ngamakrwala leya. Well, iyahluka ngendawo. Also here in PE, I think they do it. Yes, they do it here in PE. And then they also do it MTATA. Yeah, MTATA, but not in all those places, yabo. Qabimbola, thwale neketshemiya yakhe. So yeah. Yeah, so I think with the red, she was also showing us ba ungumntu obomvu yena, yabo. Yeah. So yeah, man. What else? Oh yeah, with the braids, I didn't necessarily know what to say with about the braids. I just think maybe they were like part of the aesthetic, yabo, highlighting African hairstyles and African and all those things, just African hairstyles. And so yeah, I think the braids were to also highlight maybe the importance of braids, or it was just for aesthetics, yeah, but like it was just for, okay, yeah, we're Africans and our braids, we should embrace our hair. Yeah, and we also know the importance of braids in like freeing the slaves back then, right? How they depicted apparently the cornfields and ways in which the slaves could escape. So yeah, that's how important braids are to us. And now they're also a symbol of beauty, a symbol of aesthetic. Yeah, so yeah, I think she was just highlighting that. And I also think maybe it was also intended that it gives that feel of old braids, you know, like the things we used to do, how we used to wear our hair, and yeah, just taking pride in that. So yeah, with the braids there wasn't much I could deduce, but yeah, that's what I got from it. So yeah, I think all in all, for me, this was a reflective album. This album was about looking back and looking to the forward, but also being in the present moment. You understand? And also answering to our call. Sabela uyabizo. When you have a calling, you should answer that calling, right? So fanele usabele xa ubizwa. Yeah, and answer to your calling. What else? What other songs did I? Oh man, the Dark Side of the Rainbow. Dark Side of the Rainbow is one of my favorites. I gravitated towards it before the other songs. The other ones are just like I'm catching them now. Biko Speaks. Oh man. Oh bruh. Biko Speaks. Oh bro. Like damn. And then I think at the end it also has a clip of Utadu Steve Biko or a politician speaking, right? But Biko Speaks, Kunzima, Dark Side of the Rainbow, brother. The instrumental. Oh, nah, man, like it's such a soothing album, such a beautiful album. It's when you listen to it, you feel a strong sense of emotion, yabo. You feel a strong sense of emotion. So yeah, and apparently on the Dark Side of the Rainbow, what's actually cool is that she also sampled an erratic parliamentary session that was going on here in South Africa. So yeah, man. And Internet Artie did mention that ThAndiSwa MaZwai might have just released one of the best jazz albums, or well, one of the best albums to come out for the next 10 years. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, it's been a while since I watched that video, but yeah, he did mention something like that, and I do share the same sentiments because it's good for like a first listen, but your other listens, my dog, telling me, bro, like, damn, she goes hard, bro. She goes hard, dude. And yeah, she also recently released a picture on Instagram that's very archaic. Like it's giving an archaic vibe. Like those old queens, you know, who were there when like people took pictures. I think Trevor's the one who took the picture. Or it's from the Manor magazine, but that picture it feels like she was there in the 1800s or whenever cameras decided to come here. Like it's very archaic. That picture is very archaic. Like, well, the editing for that picture was proper. But yeah, guys, that's it from us. I do hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you do go and check out the album. Tell me what your thoughts are, and yeah, man, tell me what your favorite cover art was, and maybe like what did you feel from it, what did you get from it. Yeah, well, then maybe we can have a discussion on it. But anyways, that's it from me. Stay safe and peace and love. Oh yeah, not to forget, but one more thing is I did go on the internet because I've been seeing posts of people being like angry and being furious about the fact that we haven't heard any developments on this case, and we haven't heard a lot of things. So I went to Google and I checked if there's been any new developments, but as of yet, I think from an article that was posted 2 or 3 weeks ago, there hasn't been any developments on the case. But other than that, I think the AfriForum is demanding for an apology from Musenzo Mchunu, who is the mayor of Durban. No, the mayor or the premier. I'm not sure, but yeah, they're demanding for an apology for the principal. Yeah, and yeah, man, that's all I wanted to share. I also wanted to say that there hasn't been any developments on the case, which really is saddening, because for such a serious case and for it to not be any new developments, and I feel like now a lot of people are stopping to talk about it, which is also concerning. Like, Yeah, because we can't trivialize a lot of these issues because these issues are very serious. Oh, and another update I saw was that the pupil the school teacher, apparently, I saw this from the Sowetan. Yeah, I read this from the Sowetan briefly, that the school teacher who had sexually assaulted a child at school and impregnated them twice has been fined 38,000. Like, they've been told to pay 38,000 rands of maintenance every month for the next 2 years. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you knew about the story about the child who was forced then to terminate the pregnancy through eating rat poison. So yeah, that teacher, and apparently the teacher also lost their job. Yeah, obviously. So yeah, that's all I wanted to update you guys on. Let's continue to fight against the femicide and the rape and the ill treatment that our women have to face here in South Africa. Let's start creating a safer space for them, and let's start making sure that we as the men stand up for our women, and we also fight against this pandemic. Thank you.